Just the other night, we were walking with a couple that we love so dearly that, they were getting married, and they were asking us questions like, well, we're just about to get married, and we're thinking about taking this homeless lady into is that insane? And we're like, yeah, it is, but do it, we've been so scared of so many things along the way where we'll wrestle, like, do we do it? Do we do it? And we're always terrified. We've done some scary things, but each time as we started recounting the early days, and it was so fun, we just walked year by year, the different things we did, and we just thought, what if we didn't do that? We would have missed out. I'm so glad we just tried, we pursued. Man, this book is clearly about action, about let's stop talking and listening to another podcast and reading another book without doing anything. Let's assume, people always say, well, we were asked that yesterday. How do we know God's will? I'm like, read this thing. Man, true religion is to care for the widows and orphans. Go adopt a kid. Well, I don't know if God told me to do that. Yes, he did. Why? My question is, why wouldn't we assume adoption? Unless we hear a voice from heaven telling us to stop. But we do everything backwards. We go, well, I don't really want to do that, so I need to hear a voice from God. I'm going, no, you heard a voice from God. Now start doing it, start pursuing it, unless you're a voice saying, stop. Don't adopt, you weirdo. What are you thinking? Isn't that the voice we should be listening for? Because he already said something else. Then I better act upon this in some way. I'm not saying everyone should adopt, but maybe we should. I am saying it is ridiculous that there are literally a million Christian churches in America, and there are 500,000 foster kids that no one wants. Does that make any sense to you? So it's like if every other church would adopt one child, but that's just too big. I'm just going, this is ridiculous. This is getting silly now. How bad does it have to get before we finally realize, man, there's something so wrong with the way we've been doing things and the focus. And again, I'm saying, look, I'm not trying to ruin everything or put this pressure or this weight. I'm just going, you're missing out on life. You are so missing out on life, because that's what we're saying. Can you imagine if we didn't do this? How lame our life would have been if we didn't do this or this or this or this, because God rewards and he blesses and he gives you this life that's to the full. Most recently, even 8 months ago, she was pregnant with our 6th kid. We have a 3-month-old, and we have a college-age daughter. We had all sorts of, and as she's pregnant, we find out about this gal, who needs to be adopted. But she's 16, and comes from a pretty bad background. And it's like, oh, man, what do we do? And it's like, gosh, this is not good timing. She's pregnant. This is not a good time to ask for anything. It's just... And yet, it's kind of like, well, what if we don't do it? What's going to happen to her and this and that, and to take her into our home? And I can't imagine life without her now. So we're in this process of adoption. We are crazy about this girl. And I even remember, it was even just a few weeks into it, and the social worker comes over and says, how long is she allowed to stay in your house? And when I was able to just look at her, and it just flowed out of my mouth like, honey, you can stay here as long as you want. I will treat you, I will take you as one of my daughters. You see how I treat my girls? I want you to be one of my girls. And you know what? Everything I own would be yours. You would be just like them, no different. I want you as my own, as long, it's up to you, but you can stay here as long as you want, honey. I will take you as one of my daughters. And as I'm saying that, man, I just had this moment as it's coming out of my mouth. Man, I can't even explain, because somehow simultaneously, it's like God was speaking to me going, Francis, don't you hear yourself? Don't you hear what you're saying? That's everything I've been saying to you. Man, why is it that you still feel insecure sometimes? Why is it? Why do you think you're able to just look at this person and say, look, I want to adopt you. Everything that's mine is yours. It's because I put that spirit in you, and it's because that's what I'm saying to you, Francis. Everything that belongs to my son, Jesus, you see him. That's yours, all the riches and everything. I take you as my own son. And there was just this moment of security, of just reminding God, thank you for this spirit. Thank you that I get to kind of represent you here on earth and give that picture and just for my own life. And now that I just adore her and can't imagine life without her, I go, man, we would have missed out. Again, we would have missed out. Was it terrifying? Was it timing good? It's never good timing. Okay, that's something we learn. You just do things. You just pursue things. And yeah, you might make mistakes. You will make mistakes. But you know what? You're guaranteed to make a mistake by doing nothing. Okay, so at least you have a chance by acting and trying something. But by sitting there and having your cute little family, you're making mistakes left and right. The issue is assume action. Assume that when you hear the word of God, you do something. And